Hi YouTube, WatchChris here with another video. You may have heard this week that Seiko's announced 3 new Seiko 5 GMT models that'll be available for sale in July of 2022. This has a lot of people excited as you can get the classic look of the famous SKX, but now with an automatic GMT movement and at a relatively affordable price. This fourth GMT hand will allow you to track a second time zone and would come in handy for those who travel a lot. The 3 colorways are the black dial with a black and gray insert, SSK001, the blue dial with blue and black insert, which is the SSK003, and the orange dial with black and gray insert, SSK005. There was a leak about these watches back in April of 2022, but many were skeptical that they would actually be announced by Seiko. So besides the new GMT movement, what makes these watches different from the Seiko 5 Sports, commonly known as the 5KX models that have been available since 2019? For starters, these 3 watches will come on a 5-row Jubilee style bracelet, which is an upgraded version of the bracelet that came with the SKX and is a fan favorite. This bracelet now has solid end links but still has a pressed metal clasp. Actually, this is great news, as I showed in a previous video that it's easy to change out the clasp to a better quality third-party clasp for not that much money. I'm assuming the links will be held together with push pins, and the OEM clasp has 4 micro adjustment holes. Next, the insert is a 2-tone 24-hour style insert that I heard is made out of Hardlex crystal. And this is actually really cool, as sapphire and glass inserts are becoming more and more popular, so you're essentially getting the same look here. Previously, the only Seiko 5 models that came with Hardlex inserts were select 5KX models like the SRPE 77 and SRPE 75. The downside with both sapphire and Hardlex inserts is that they could crack if impacted, and they also tend to crack when you remove them for modding work unless you're being really careful. The GMT movement that comes with this watch will be the Seiko 4R34 automatic movement. Very similar to the already common 4R36 movements that come in the 5KXs, but of course with the addition of the GMT complication and date only instead of day and date. I don't have any GMT movements in my collection currently, so I'm not an expert, but I understand this movement is what is referred to as an office GMT rather than a traveler GMT. Office GMT just means that you are adjusting the GMT hand to reflect the second time zone instead of adjusting the hour hand. It's significant that Seiko will be making these movements available to third parties in the form of an NH series movement, just like they do with the other common 4R movements. This means we should be seeing this GMT movement in even more affordable micro-brand offerings soon. The other thing of note is that this new movement is only 0.1 millimeters thicker than the regular non-GMT 4R movements. For the crystal, you're still getting Seiko's proprietary flat Hardlex crystal instead of sapphire, but they've added a Cyclops over the date window. I actually like the addition of the Cyclops, but if you don't, I've heard that it can be removed with a razor blade and a heat source if you're careful. As for the chapter ring, it now has 24-hour markings to assist with the GMT functionality. The dial has GMT wording in red on the black and blue dialed models and in black on the orange dialed version. The GMT hand color is a contrasting red on the black and blue models and black on the orange dialed model. I have yet to hear whether the rotating bezel is bidirectional or unidirectional, but I'm hoping it's bidirectional. Other aspects of the watch are the same as the current 5KX models, such as the exhibition caseback, 100-meter water resistance, the non-signed push-pull crown at 4 o'clock, the bezel style, the indices, shape of the hands, lume, and the dimensions except for the additional 0.1 millimeter thickness increase. These will be retailing for $475 US, which is a $180 premium over the regular 5KX's price of $295. But as with the 5KX, I'm hoping that once the demand and hype of these new GMT models dies down, we should be seeing them selling for below retail price, which is usually around $100 to $125 less than retail. So if you're like me and you're excited about these new GMT Seiko 5s and are planning on getting one, I wish you luck. I think demand will be extremely high, at least in the beginning. You might be wondering which colorway to choose or which one will be the most popular. For me, initially I was thinking I liked the black dialed version the best, but I already have a black dialed SKX, so now I think I prefer the blue dialed SKX003 with its Batman style insert. I also hear a lot of buzz about the orange dialed version being the one that stands out most as uniquely Seiko. I think Seiko is going to have another really hot seller here, and they seem to be on quite a roll as of late. I think they could release other colorways of this GMT model, like a Pepsi bezeled version, and those would be highly popular as well. I know these watches are going to remind people of the Rolex Master GMT 2, but that watch costs over $20,000 and is not attainable for most. With this Seiko, you get a similar look and functionality from a Japanese brand with a long watchmaking history. In terms of what the Seiko enthusiast community would have wished Seiko had included with these new models, I'm sure there will be mentions of a signed crown, a sapphire crystal, and a better milled clasp, but I get that having those upgrades would have increased the retail price even more. I think these new GMTs are also going to be great for the modding community, as most of the parts will be the same as the SKX and 5KX, so you'd be able to upgrade those things yourself if you really wanted to. I've pre-ordered the blue dialed version from a Seiko authorized dealer near me, and I'll be excited to actually have the watch in hand, hopefully sometime next month. Of course, I'll do an unboxing and review video as soon as I can. So yeah, I wasn't planning on purchasing another watch, but I did, so this just means I'm going to have to sell a couple of watches in my current collection. That's going to be it for this video. If you found it helpful or interesting, feel free to leave a like, comment, or even subscribe. I wanted to thank you for watching, of course, and hopefully I'll see you in another video.